Hello, my name is Emma if you don't know who I am, and today I'm going to be doing like a chit chat get ready with me. I'm going to be testing out my Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette and basically just talking about my 2018 and what I learned and what I want to learn in 2019. So if any of that sounds interesting to you, then please just keep on watching. I'm home alone and I felt like doing my makeup just because I have nowhere else to go tonight. So I think I'm just gonna do my makeup and talk a little bit about what 2018 was like for me, as well as what I want 2019 to be like, because I haven't really had a solid chance to kind of like reflect and gather my thoughts about how this year went. So yeah. So in 2018, kind of a lot happened. It was probably one of the best years of my life, but also probably like one of the hardest. And I know everybody says that, but it's the truth. So right now I'm just priming my eyelids with this Maybelline Age Rewind concealer. So as most of you probably know, in January I transferred to the current college that I'm at now. And so that means it was my first spring semester of college. It was my spring semester of my freshman year, and I was spending it in a completely different place than I spent my fall semester. The college that I go to now is way closer to where I live, and I was able to visit my family a lot more, my boyfriend a lot more, and pretty much all my friends live in my hometown still, so it was nice to be able to be back in my city. So moving and going to school here was definitely one of the biggest changes, and that was all the way back in January. So it's been a full year since I started at this school, and I love it. It was probably one of the best decisions I ever made, honestly, because the school that I was at, which was George Mason University, they did not have advertising. So when I was at George Mason, I was actually a public speaking communications major, and when I transferred here, they didn't have that major, so I was like, oh gosh. So I was like, what am I gonna do? Which leads me to one of the other big things that happened in 2018 was that I applied to art school and I did not get in. Right now I'm just setting my eyelids with this random powder, I don't know what it is. So in high school, as a lot of you again probably already know, I was heavy into graphic design and photography. It quickly became like one of my biggest passions. I never thought I would end up going to college for art until I found out that I was going to transfer to my current college. I was like, hey, I might as well apply to art school, see if I get in. It would be awesome if I could get a degree in design. So that's what I did. I applied in January of 2018 so that I would be entering art school in the fall semester of 2018. They didn't get back to me until June. So I waited, 6 months. I waited 6 months. I waited 6 months to see if I got into the art school. The way the art school at my college works is that they review the incoming freshman applicants first, and then they will review the transfer student applications. And I think what happened is that all the spots got filled up with the freshmen, which is obviously fine, like good for them. No shade at all towards the freshmen, like they totally deserve it. The art school is really hard to get into. Like, I understand that they obviously want incoming freshmen to fill up their spots, but it was just really disappointing because pretty much everyone from my high school that applied to art school got in, and then I didn't. So now I'm going to be using the Urban Decay Naked Cherry palette, which was so excited. I got this for Christmas. This was one of the palettes I asked for. Oh my god, the colors are so beautiful. So I'm going to start with the shade called Juicy right here. It's just like a pale pink. But anyway, when people say that everything happens for a reason, it really is so true, because if I didn't get rejected from art school, then I would have never found the major that I'm in now, which is creative advertising. The farther along I go with my creative advertising degree, I realize that this is what I would have wanted to do anyway. And the more I learned about the art school, the more I realized that it was really a blessing in disguise to get rejected from art school, even though it didn't seem like it at the time. Because in the art school, they do a lot of like painting and drawing and sculpture, and that's great if you're into crafting and just being handy, but I'm not like that. The art school at my college definitely focuses a lot on the fine art aspect of things, where as I'm coming to realize I'm more interested in like branding and marketing, which obviously that wouldn't be in the art school, that would be in the business school anyway. So the more the summer went on, I realized, because if I had gotten in the art school, I definitely would have gone, and then I would have realized later than I realized on my own that art school wasn't for me. So now I am officially a creative advertising major, which I'm so happy about. So now I'm going to take a darker pink shade. I'm just going to take the shade Bing from the palette and basically place that in the same area, putting it a little bit lower than my crease. So that was probably one of the biggest things to happen to me last year. So another really exciting thing that happened was I did like a student internship program over the summer for 2 weeks with the Martin agency, and basically the whole premise of that was that there was a few teams of 6 and all of us were working on an advertising campaign for the moving company Penske. That was just awesome in itself because I'd never actually been like in an advertising agency ever. I think I'm going to take more of this color and just kind of put it all over my lid a little bit more because it's not as high as I want it to be. I've really been liking eyeshadow that goes all the way to the eyebrow. I just love the way it looks, and I feel like it looks really good for people that have like a big space between the eyebrow and the eye, kind of like I do. So as far as like what I actually learned about life and myself in 2018, I obviously knew this before this year, but I've realized how much pain and suffering there is in this world. And I know that sounds really dark, but just seeing everything that happened as far as like the school shootings and natural disasters such as like the earthquakes and wildfires and hurricanes. So many people had to move their entire lives, or their entire life was lost. It's just amazing that that happens to people. I just kind of had my eyes opened, I guess, a little bit to the fact that I'm not making any sense. It's hard to concentrate on what I'm saying while also trying to do eyeshadow. Just give me a minute. Right now I'm just blending out that dark cranberry color with the lighter pink color that I was using earlier. Something else that I learned this year is that I definitely don't want to live in the city. Like after college, I'm definitely moving out of the city. What I like about the city is that it doesn't feel lonely ever. You always feel like there's someone around. You don't feel alone, and that's because there's people everywhere. But that's also kind of the other side of the coin, is that it's so busy, so overpopulated, and so noisy. And anybody who knows me can tell you that the littlest things will piss me off, and especially if I can't control it, like if I can't do anything about it, then I get so anxious and upset. Yeah, I've been having so much fun researching where I want to live in the future. That's one of my favorite things to do probably, is just think about like my future family and where I want to live, where I want to go to grad school if I go. So now I'm going to take one of these glittery shades. I think I'm going to do this one right here. It's called Young Love, and put that on my lid. So as far as what I want out of life in 2019, one of the main things is that I want to accept who I am more, and I know that's so general and not very personal, but for me what it means is I've always felt pretty insecure about the fact that I'm very introverted and not nearly as social as a lot of the people I know that are my age, and I've never been like that. I usually prefer to be alone. I'm trying to get more okay with the fact that I don't always have to be doing something just because everyone else is. I want to be okay with just sitting in my room and not feel the pressure of having to go out and be social just because that's what everyone else is doing. I mean, people kind of make fun of me for it, which I hate because it makes me feel like it's a bad thing to want to be alone. And I definitely get my energy from just being by myself. And there's a difference between like putting myself out of my comfort zone, which I'm completely fine with. I will obviously make myself uncomfortable in order to expand my friend group, but I don't want to the point where I feel not like myself. So now I'm taking this little smudger end of the brush and I'm taking that dark brown and then just blending it out with the other fluffy end of the brush. So yeah, that's just one of my goals for 2019, is to accept my personality a little bit. Don't give myself such a hard time for not being as social as everybody else my age, because there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. So now I'm just going to take more of this pink shade and just kind of blend everything together. Another goal that I have for 2019 is to figure out what the hell I'm doing with YouTube. At least in my opinion, it's harder than it looks to feel motivated. I don't know if it's just because I'm too critical. I just feel like I could always be doing better, and I get really insecure about every video that I make because I feel like I go back and forth. I upload for a few weeks and then I don't. So now I'm taking the NYX Epic ink liner and I'm gonna just line my top, what do you call it? For me, YouTube is a lot about me starting and then finishing something. Basically, YouTube kind of satiates this need for me to start working on something and also finish it, and seeing the end product of what I envision in my mind and seeing it become a real thing. That's, I guess, how I would describe my motivation for YouTube, if that makes any sense. And so today I am going to be using the Ardell Demi Wispies. The last time I wore these was on New Year's and I definitely just took them off without cleaning them, so I'll probably just put these on and then come back when I'm done. Okay kids, we are back in business. I usually put mascara on before I do fake lashes, so I kind of forgot to do that this time. Here's a tip if you don't know. If your mascara is super dry and old, you can just sit on it while you're doing the rest of your makeup, and then when it's time to do your mascara, it'll be nice and warm and liquidy again. So I know it sounds kind of weird, but it actually does work. I just use the L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara in Carbon Black. Okay, good enough. So now I'm gonna do the underneath of my eyes. I'm gonna take the larger end of this fluffy brush and this pink color right here again and just kind of run that underneath my eyes. So another thing that I want to get better at in 2019 is not worrying so much about getting enough sleep. I've somehow become really obsessed with the idea of getting 8 hours of sleep every single night, which is just not possible, especially in college. That's probably one of my main sources of anxiety, is trying to get enough sleep and worrying so much about being tired, when really being tired is not the worst thing in the world and I don't need to worry about it so much. Like, coffee exists for a reason. Basically, my whole day is kind of scheduled around me wanting to go to bed at a certain time, so what I want to do is just stop worrying so much about getting enough sleep, because it's really going to be okay if I only get 6 hours. Okay, so now I'm gonna take the other smaller end of this brush and go with this brown shade right here. You can't even see. And mix this brown shade right here with this darker cherry color right here. And put that a little bit closer to the lash line. I'm such a beauty guru. I want to chronicle my life more frequently, whether that just be making videos more often or writing in my journal more frequently. I used to be so good at that in high school. I'm not really sure why I don't do it as often, but it's definitely one of the best things to look back on and just see how much I've changed as a person. So here's what the bottom is looking like. I think I'm gonna add a little bit more pink just everywhere. I also want to stop owning people's problems so much. Whenever someone tells me their problems, I tend to kind of carry it on my shoulders. Obviously I want to help my friends and my family and everything, but I also need to remember to take care of my own problems too, because that is an anxiety attack waiting to happen, my friend. Now I'm going to do my waterline, and I'm going to use this like flat pencil brush and this black color from this random Maybelline palette that I have. Another goal I have is just to make a new friend, whether it be in one of my classes or at work. That's just never a bad goal to have. I want more friends who are willing to put in effort, and it goes both ways. Like, I need to work on accepting my friends a little bit more and not being so judgmental of people when I first meet them, because I don't know, I just feel like I tend to weed out people so quickly without even giving them a chance. That's hard to admit, but it's the truth. Okay, so I think that's gonna be the finished look for today. If you're wondering, I do not do foundation, I don't do concealer, because concealer looks like on my face for some reason. It just doesn't work. It doesn't do anything. I hope you enjoyed listening to me talk about what my year was like last year and what I want to learn from this coming year. It felt good to just talk unrestricted. I hope I just keep getting progressively more comfortable with who I am, both inside and out, and I hope I become someone that people look to and they see inside me. Like, I want people to like who I am, I guess. Ideally, I'll never be finished growing, so. Okay, so I know I didn't transition very well from the emo to the outro, but sorry. So thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and follow me on all the social media, which will be down below. Thank you so much for watching, and see you next time. Bye.